r/AskReddit. People who have walked out in the middle of a date. What happened? I walked out even before the date started because my date brought his friend with him. They arrived in a car and asked me to jump in. I remember that episode of Bang Bus. It was super short. Oh yes. The camera crew behind me starts to make sense now. But seriously, who thinks it's a good idea to bring a friend with them on a date? If you need moral support, bring a cute dog, not your best mate Dave. We were on our second date. He bought me 2 ears. A slow song was playing and he wanted to slow dance. As soon as we hit the floor he wanted to shove his tongue down my throat. I said I just wanted to dance and talk. Get to know each other. His response? Well, I just bought you 2 ears. I walked off the dance floor, put cash on the table to cover my ears, and walked out the door. Yuck. The whole I bought you a drink, you owe me thing needs to die. It's disgusting. Honestly. I was shocked. Not to sound superficial, but my friend set us up because he was a writer and she knew I liked smart guys. I dated enough regular good guys to know he was a creep. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I went straight to my local bar because I was so pissed. When I itched about the incident to the locals there, every guy in the place said, "I'll buy you a rear no strings attached." I forgot how good it felt to have that kind of backup. Halfway through her actual date showed up. Then he realizes what's happened. Make her leave and you guys go full laser tag and become brothers. Barney? He said I normally don't really date girls that I don't find attractive, so feel special. Well, goodbye. Oh, negging. How you never cease to backfire. He took out his peen randomly without warning while we were hiking at 2 PM on a Sunday on a busy trail with lots of families around. I was just like, I gotta go. And he was genuinely curious why, so I had to explain to him as we were hiking back up the trail towards the parking lot about how indecent exposure is against the law. I cringed so hard thinking that this is a real person out in the world. Number 3, the tip. Just a misunderstood accidental tip slip. On the 4th date she tells me the real reason she changed jobs. She used to be a prison guard and had cancer, so all the medical stuff forced her change of work. Now she works as a nurse. This is important. She tells me in a totally casual way that because of having cancer she felt like she needed to let go and be exciting. So she started dating 2 prisoners that were there. She used to smuggle them in cell phones and other stuff. Asked her how out of pure morbid curiosity, and she tells me women have natural pockets that fit lots of stuff. Then tells me she was caught because someone walked in on them having X in his cell and the other inmates she was dating got jealous and turned them in. Said the reason she wasn't in jail was because the psychologist testified she was in an altered mental state because of the cancer. She went to the bathroom and I promptly ran like hell. She called me every day for 2 weeks before giving up. Good thing you ran. The X would have been were AI too good. All the cell phones inside would hurt like hell. I'm a teacher at a school with a large percentage of students that come from low-income families. Great people. Wonderful parents that care and want the best for their kids. But a lot work multiple jobs to keep food on the table. It isn't in the best part of town. But my kids work their butts off for me, which is really all I can ask. My kids mean the world to me. So I went on a date after coming out of a long-term relationship. We went to one of my favorite bars that has really great food. First, he made a lot of extraneous noises when he ate. A lot of MMMMMS going on. Okay, fine. I can deal with it for one date. Then we started talking about work. I talk about my students because they take up a lot of my life and I love them to death. He asks where I work. I told him where and he grimaced. I asked what that face was for. He paused briefly and said, "I don't know why someone as pretty and educated as you would want to work at a ghetto black school." I grabbed $20 out of my wallet, which was more than enough for my bill and the tip, put it on the table, and walked out the door. Good for you. What a racist peen. Duck him and his weird eating noises. Here's the best part. He asked about a second date. She actually told me a story of deliberately and falsely accusing a guy of rape. This was during the meal at a restaurant. I decided to never be alone with her and left while she went to the bathroom. I left money on the table to roughly cover my meal. Smart move. That's disgusting. I can't believe someone would willingly admit they had done something like that. More than that, it's duck that she'd even consider accusing them of hate falsely. That ducks people's lives and careers up with no hope of recovery. Even if proven innocent. Duck that itch. Didn't even get as far as a date. I met a girl on the weekend at a table quiz in a pub. She was a friend of my cousin who I was there to fill out a team with. Myself and herself swapped numbers and got talking during the week, and I asked her on a date for coffee. Scheduled for the Saturday. On the Friday she told me that if I loved her and wanted this relationship to work, I should bring her on holidays and to hotels and stuff. I told her I wasn't going to be meeting her for coffee the following day and haven't seen her since. That went from 0 to stalker level fast. And gold digging it seems. She was ignoring me, being rowdy, and eventually spilled my full glass of ice water on my lap. We hadn't even received our food at that point, so I asked the waitress to box it up because I was leaving. I couldn't handle but anymore. I had enough. Especially after the car ride to the restaurant. Next time date night will be just my husband and I. The toddler will stay with grandma. Kids sometimes. SMH. Always nice to find a wholesome post among the very unwholesome other posts. She had my number saved as call for food. You dodged a bullet there. She could be a cannibal. Girl bragged about purposely finding and trying to hit and kill cats with her car. Duck that. Faked going to the restroom and called a cab. Best part was that it was a double date. My buddy John went to the bathroom with me and bailed too. Also her psycho friend chimed in that she did the same hit. Also they both bragged about their pill addictions. Peaced out quick. Your dates after you left. Girl 1, seems like they won't return. Girl 2, yep. Girl 1, so let's go murder some cats. Girl 2, let's geo murder some cats. Pills and fill in aside. Duck those chicks. Florida girls of course. Mine didn't even turn into a date. I bowled on a team once a week and chatted with a guy that came in the same nights with his family. We finally made a date. And as soon as I got in his car he asked me to marry him. He pulled a ring out of the glove compartment and said he was in the Navy and was scheduled to be relocated to Germany in 2 weeks. I was shocked and scared. Told him he was nice and I would write to him, but it was just weird. I never heard from him again. Standard Navy move. Suppose you can't blame him for just testing the waters. Get off this ship. She showed up late. Spoken one-word answers. Stared at her phone and texted other people. Yelled at the waiter for filling her water too much. I finished my food. Placed a $20 on the table. Walked out. Then blocked her on my phone. I would say I don't think she even noticed. But I was her ride home. Best part is, I bet when she relays the story, you're the peen who left her stranded at the restaurant. Stranded is so accurate. Cause that's how dramatic she will describe the situation. I didn't walk out on a date. But my first date after 10 years following the split up of my marriage went as such. I arrived 10 minutes early to the bar and find a nice table. She arrives 10 minutes late. She walks to the table and looks at me. She starts to laugh. She walks back out. I go home and cry myself to sleep nursing a bottle of whiskey. Edit, thank you for the gold. Kind stranger. You don't want to be with someone that terrible. Yeah. I mean, being ugly on the outside isn't great, but being ugly on the inside really messes up your life. Guy from the gym asked me out for coffee. We hit it off and walked to the beach afterwards. We sit on a wall watching the ocean, and he tells me he gives amazing foot rubs and insists on giving me one. Takes off my flip-flop and is really into my feet. Toes go into his mouth and I noped out. That's happened to me once, except I wasn't on a date. I was at my local pool. I was sitting over the edge with my feet in the water. This guy starts talking to me who's in the pool. Then someone distracts me. I look away and the next thing I know my toes are in his mouth. I ran away. I was 16. Sounds like a good way to get your teeth kicked out. Showed up drunk. Said I was her third date of the day. Was racist towards the Indian waiter. I didn't order a drink. Yo, what's her number? 8,008,135. I got walked out on in a Valentine's date. She was yelling at the waitress about wing sauce. There wasn't enough on the wings. I told her she was making an ass out of herself, and she walked out. Everyone's out here saying they just walked out when their date was right to the wait staff. I'm too confrontational. I would straight up tell my date they're being a douchebag. Then walk out. We met at a PF Chang's. She was 20 minutes late without any attempt to communicate that she would be late. After introducing myself, she spoke non-stop for the next 15-ish minutes. She covered such topic as her horrible family, her horrible job and her horrible ex-BF. I threw money on the table and walked out. Didn't offer an explanation. Just bounced. She screamed some unintelligible hit at me while I walked out. Blocked her number. Thin. First date should never be for a sit-down dinner. Make it something cheap and casual, so if after 15 minutes you can just go if you need to. Agreed. Grab a drink. If it is going well, then order another. A dinner seems like a terrible idea for a first date. Also looks pretty serious. He asked me if I go to church, and I said no. I'm an atheist. Then he pulled some pamphlets out of his backpack and started yelling me that I would burn in hell. I left the place while he shouted that I was the worst. It's like they're trying to make you write off religious people as lunatics. I ditched the date at the bar we were at after she told me she got mad at her ex over basically nothing and then proceeded to ruin his mint classic car. She also casually mentioned being arrested over something else related to aggressive behavior. I would have remembered what it was she did had I not checked out right then and there. Faked going to the restroom. Then promptly paid my tab and left. Why would you think that that's even a thing to tell someone on a first date? Why would you think that that's even a thing to tell someone on a first date? Because they see nothing wrong with what they did and just assume you'll agree. Met at a cafe. Actually walked toward the wrong dude. Similar haircut. Blurry photos. We realized what happened and laughed it off. Told the real dude about it when he showed up, and he was not amused. Strike one. That's hilarious. Got coffee. Sat in a nearby public park. He brags about his career in professional gambling. Looks surprised I know some basic easy details. Insults his friends. Lets me know ahead of time he parked his car and has to move it. Fair enough. I offer to walk toward it and stand there while he moves around the block. Parking is tough here. Walks me a mile. Passing many open parking places. To under an overpass. Still bright out, but this is weird. Car is a large windowless white van in which he reveals he is currently sleeping because his roommate has exiled him semi-permanently. I don't buy it. It becomes clear he wants me to get in the van to help move it. At this point I'll let him know that I don't think I'm getting in there. But thanks. Quick hug, goodbye. Leave. He's incredulous. Doesn't push it. Drives off. To his credit, he texts later in the day apologizing for creeping me out. Rewind to the first guy and try him instead. I spent the whole date wishing I had. He was so nice and we laughed about it together. Second or third date. Picked her up at home. Parents had swastika flags at home. She was confused that I had a problem with that. I'm from Germany. Edit. Think I need to clear something up. She was /is an artsy and so were her parents. It was Nazi flag. I know the difference. Maybe they put them up especially for you? You're German, I thought that was a thing in Germany? /s. Let's put those flags up to show respect to our daughter's date. Ducking like and subscribe.